Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our last interview of the day, actually, here on day one of DCD Virginia. We are live in Leesburg. That has a fun ring to it. I should have been saying that all day. I'm Candace Sipos, your host today with JSA TV, and we're covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations in the digital infrastructure sector, as always. So I have a repeat guest with me today, Dr. Atif Ansar, Executive Chairman and co-founder of Foresight. Thank you for joining us again.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's dive right in. So you have said before that the best data center CEOs are realizing that time is just as important as capital, which is a great statement. I love that. So what does that actually look like? What does that shift look like? Why is that happening right now?
So, Candice, is a very, very good question. Speed is revenue in the data center industry like never before. So, for a 100 megawatt data center, opening on time means you basically start to generate about $15 million worth of revenue on that day. And that revenue, if you're late, is never going to come back in the 15-year lease structures that people have. So, time now is the currency for a data center CEO. And it used to be that people were optimizing for cost. There was a lot of cost control, but now that attention is shifting to optimizing for time and speed to market.
Perfect. Time is the currency. I love that. Okay. And when a project runs late, considering that time is the currency, what is really at stake for a data center operator?
So look, for operators, they really own the risk. On, as I mentioned earlier, time is revenue. So if they run late, that revenue is not going to come back. But apart from the revenue, they're also incurring quite a lot of costs because of that delay. Cost of capital, financing costs, inflation, standing army of people, material that's not being deployed, their own management costs, additional project management costs that they have to bear. So give or take, the iceberg is a 100 megawatt data center might lose about $15 million worth of revenue and roughly an equal amount of cost in terms of financing, inflation, idle equipment, standing army, so on and so forth. So it's really staggering. Basically, research by STL shows that a 3-month delay would blow out the IRR of a 15-year project. So time's become this very sensitive thing, which has very high impact, not just on the operators, but the entire ecosystem that's involved in that project.
Wow, those are some staggering numbers, like you said. So, last question: are we entering an era where investors value how fast you can deliver more than how much you can actually build?
Absolutely. So look, we've had a situation where data centers were accelerating. So the model was, for lack of a better word, a bit cowboy. So people were really, C-level was very focused on investors and customers, raising the money and getting that deployed as quickly as possible. Now we are in an even more accelerated phase, but we can't waste that capital that easily anymore, and we certainly cannot waste that time so easily. So what's happening is that CEOs of platforms are having to take a much bigger look on the inside of the organization, and instead of delegating the schedule or the construction to just the head of construction, they have to institute a degree of governance and look into it themselves on a monthly basis. So many of the best platforms have a monthly business review now, in which the CEO, along with other C-level like COO and even the chief revenue officer, sit down with the head of construction as well as the project directors and really analyze what's happening on site. This was not something that was being done 6 months ago. And now the platforms started doing it, investors are taking a similar view, because the platforms that are run in a very numerical way, like AirTrunk, like Aligned, are selling for very large sums of money, is because they're taking that very numerical approach to tracking their schedules, and platforms that are a bit less numerical are certainly facing a lot more distress. So now the Blackstones and the MGXs of the world are getting much more interested on the financial discipline and the time discipline of the platform teams that they're investing in.
Amazing. Yeah, there's so many great nuggets in there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And time is currency. That's a one that I'm going to take back with me. And thank you for joining us again, Dr. Ansar, on
Thanks for
JSA
being.
TV. We'll catch you at the next event, I'm sure.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And thank you to our viewers for hanging out with us here for our live interview stream from DCD Virginia. Happy networking, everyone. We'll see you at the next event soon.
Thank you.